Hey, welcome back to the next installment of Bikes, Beards, and Brews. I just wanted to take a minute to let you know where that came from. Actually, it's my wife's idea to do the Bikes, Beards, and Booze. Normally, she says stuff, and she's like, "Oh, you know, it'd be funny," and she would say stuff, and I just look at her like until she stops. Hi, Meg. And but she said this, and I went to look at her. I was like, you know, it's actually kind of a good idea. I think we're gonna do that. This is Bikes, Beards, and Booze. Let's kick that intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we kick this one off, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. New videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, at least until it gets a little too cold, then we'll go down to 2. You've been warned. So let's get the other stuff out of the way. Want to save 15% on a Cardo communicator? Check my referral link down below. You want to support me in all my do-gooderness like these cool guys here? Boom! Then you should check my coffee page down below. Just to let you know, there's an exclusive Grinds My Gears on that page right now, and every month I will be adding new content to it to make it worth it for you guys to be there. Want to know why I'm asking you for money? Well, spoiler alert, that link is also down below. Check it out. So let's just jump into today's video. Today we are talking about modern horror movies and why they grind my gears. And seriously, this is just like one of these things where like the more movies I watch, the more I hate it and the more angry I get. First and foremost, like just right out of the gate, all you horror movies, you need to calm down on the CGI. Now, I know that CGI has gotten incredibly better over the years, and it's gotten much like more appealing to look at. It's blended more seamlessly and stuff like that. The problem is with horror movies, 9 times out of 10, your budgets are so small, you're hiring some like random college art institute intern to do your art, and well, it's the first time that dude has ever done any CGI. Congratulations to you for supporting the arts and, you know, high five and all that stuff, but I'd much rather see some real stuff. I would rather see practical like effects. And for those of you who don't know what practical effects is, it's basically makeup artists who create something, usually out of like latex and foam and stuff like that, and make it look real. When you go back and you look at the old horror movies, that's how everything had to be done. It was practical effects. When you saw someone's throat getting sliced open, when you saw an arrow going through the chest, blood splurting everywhere, that was all practical effects. Now, a lot of times that didn't look real either. It looked close to real, and it was close enough where your mind could suspend it and be in disbelief. But nowadays, when I'm watching a horror movie and it looks like I'm watching a video game when someone gets their head cut off, not even a new video game, but we're talking like, you know, Nintendo or Atari video game, it just doesn't look good and it takes me out of the movie. It just absolutely sucks. Go back to the practical effects. There are plenty of practical artists out there. Tom Savini's school graduates these people nonstop year after year, and they do some incredible things. Go give these people jobs, damn it. The next thing that just drives me nuts is the fact that like every like horror movie now starts leaning into technology. It annoys the shit out of me. Honestly, it's to the point where it's like, if a movie's set in like the 70s, 80s, mid to early 90s, I'm much more into it than anything after that. Because as soon as you whip out a cell phone or you go to your computer or stuff like that, I am just not interested, because it's like, oh, we're being haunted by this evil demon. Let me see what Google has to say about the evil demon. Like, what is going on? Or every single one of you. I realize the old trope is like everyone gets into a car and they're like, the car doesn't start. Which, in fairness, 9 times out of 10, when you watch these old 70s horror movies, they're getting into like a Volkswagen Bug or like an AMC, like a Pacer or a Gremlin or something. So realistically, it probably wasn't gonna start. But you had stuff in there like, okay, carburetor, you know, whatever, something failed. Nowadays, the replacement for that is like, I don't have any signal. Like, the only thing that's missing, and here's $1 million idea for like any cell phone company out there. Well, except for you, AT&T, I hate you. But like T-Mobile, Verizon, anything like that, you guys should literally help fund horror movies and make sure there's always a line in the movie where it's like, oh, I don't have any service. Dim this AT&T service plan. Like stuff like that. Because, I mean, that's clearly what's going on is everyone in horror is on AT&T, which is why they have no service and why they talk to themselves. So, but it's just so annoying. And it's just like, there's so much technology everywhere nowadays where it's like having to try and write lines into the movie where you're like trying to eliminate all this technology. Like, oh, yeah, there's a bad storm, the internet's out. Like, just stop. At least back in the day, it was like, oh, we went to a deserted cabin in the middle of nowhere and my gremlin doesn't start anymore. Okay, I'm in on that. I can get in on that. When you're like, oh my God, my brand new 2022 Ford Mustang is not starting. I realize it's a Ford, but still you're like, you're stretching it here. You guys need to calm down on this. Like, just all of this stuff, like, horror movies, when you're filming them, just film them, like, set them in 70s, 80s, 90s. Make life easier. We will all appreciate that. The next thing that really just absolutely annoys me about new horror movies, stop trying to get all of your stupid, like political statements and movements and all that stuff forced into the movie. I don't care. There's a time and a place for that. When I am watching some dude who is literally wearing somebody else's face and holding a chainsaw in a bus about to kill everyone, I don't need to hear your stance on cancel culture with a bunch of people like trying to film him on their phones. First off, I get that whoever wrote this was like, oh, you know, our generation now is just complete idiots. Because you literally have a bus filled with people that are now cornered by a man, a very huge hulking man, wearing somebody else's face and holding a chainsaw covered in blood, about to murder them. And their response is like, dude, you are so canceled. Oh, we're recording this. No. Let me tell you, if I was on that bus, I'd be going out the back door as quick as humanly possible, kicking out a window, whatever. I would not be like, oh, dude, I got to film this guy. There's just certain, I did not need your whole, thing about cancel culture mixed into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just give me a goddamn horror movie. Here's how horror movies work. You have a group of dumbass kids who go somewhere preferably remote. So this is why cabins and old houses and stuff like that work fantastic. So you get some kids, not too young because there's important stuff here. They have to be at least 18. You get them to go to a cabin. They brought drugs. And they are all about to get it on, except for one girl who we will call the final girl. They all get in there. They all talk about really dumb shit. They all find dumb reasons to go split up, do drugs, get laid, and then somebody who is very large with some sort of killing weapon goes around and just starts knocking them all off. And then one girl at the end somehow survives and escapes, and she's traumatized and whatever. End of the movie. Let's see some credits. But, before that, we want to see blood, we want to see violence, we want to see drug use, we want to see sex, we want to see all of that, and that's, we're not even really concerned about the story. Give us a nice flimsy story. Look, Friday the 13th has had one of the flimsiest stories on earth. Supposedly this kid drowned in a lake in 1978 or some shit. And ever since then has continuously showed up and keeps going. At one point in time, they said they cremated this dude, and somehow he came back from the ashes to form himself a corpse and bury himself in a cemetery where he was later dug up. But whatever, we suspend that disbelief because we want to see a guy with a machete running around just killing the shit out of everyone. I don't care if you think gas is overpriced. I don't care about your things about technology. I don't care about cancel culture. I don't care what like political like party you like decide you're gonna like vote for. I just want to see people getting murdered until you supposedly kill the killer who shows up in the after credits and shows you that he's still alive. That is a horror movie right there. Stop with all the CGI, stop with the goddamn technology, just give me a good practical effects, bloody, violent horror movie. How hard is that? This is why new horror movies are so damn bad. And then, like, your filming locations are absolutely awful too. This is going to be the last thing. Like, I just watched the new Hellraiser. Supposedly was set in the Berkshires of Massachusetts, which is the really rich section of Massachusetts, like mansions and all this stuff. They filmed this in like Prague, and I get it, you film stuff in like cheaper locations, but you have to take some considerations on where you're filming stuff. So like in Hellraiser, you'll notice they're all like driving around cobblestone streets and stuff like that. I want to assure you that one of the richest places in Massachusetts has graduated past cobblestone roads. And also, if you've ever watched any like Boston or Massachusetts movie ever, and we all know you have because we have a ton of them, you know our license plates are red and white, and like it's pretty easy. Not just flat white with like black block lettering on them. Like, take a little bit of time to try and make sure the scenes kind of look like the place you claim you are filming in. And then like, you know, certain things I get do kind of look like where you're filming in, but they're pointless. New Hocus Pocus. I realize this isn't a horror movie, but this whole movie is supposed to be set in Salem, Mass. They filmed it in Rhode Island. Rhode Island is like right next to Salem, Mass. Rhode Island, I'll give you an idea. This is Rhode Island. Rhode Island is super tiny. At one point in time, they talked about putting the new Patriots Stadium down in Rhode Island. I think they canceled it when they realized that Rhode Island would be the size of the goddamn parking lot, so you'd still have to put the stadium in Massachusetts somewhere. But why even film in Rhode Island? Just bump up to like actual Salem and film in Salem. Like, you are absolutely ridiculous. Spirited, that's coming out soon with Ryan Reynolds and all that. It's supposed to be set in New York. You want to know what? It was filmed mostly in Massachusetts. It was filmed in like the office I work in. This stuff is out of control. Seriously, horror movies, you absolutely drive me insane. You're on notice, you grind my gears, knock it off. For real, like, I think the story stuff is what's actually ruining a lot of horror movies. Because there's been quite a few I've actually watched recently. Not even just like horror movies, but shows themselves. I like the long form shows. I love the stuff that like Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that does, because it's on a decent budget for a horror movie. And, you know, you get the more long form stuff, which is cool. But the fact that they try and inject a story 9 times out of 10 makes it so they can't stick the landing. So the ending of most of these are just awful. Like, what are you guys doing? Just give us good practical effect, like slasher films. Give us good jump scare ghost films. Like, give us good like in the shadow monster movies. Like, there's some pretty standard templates out there that you need to follow that make this stuff absolutely awesome. And you guys getting too artistic with it, or insisting on mixing like cell phones and like technology and all this stuff, and you're ruining it. You're so ruining it. And you're dating the crap out of this. Like, seriously, go back and watch a movie from like 10 years ago or something that has to do with like computers haunting you, and you'll realize just how dated and how dumb they are and how hard it is to watch them. But anyway, I hope you like this one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with friends. Share it with family. Share it with that one dork you know who's like, oh, new horror movies are really good. I really enjoy the story. And he loves this stuff, trust me. I'll see you all on the flip side.